Hi, welcome back to the tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to create this 3D text underwater. Now, when I went back to the project and looked at it, I nearly died. I'd used 25 nodes and I ended up crying myself to sleep. But in the morning, when I woke up, I went back and had a look and realized that actually many of them were just copies. So let's get into it. For those of you who have not been following along with the water tutorial, I would say actually go and watch it. All the water in this video is made in DaVinci Fusion. It's completely procedural. I need to get some new teeth. And quite fun to make. You don't have to do that. You can actually, if you just want to do the 3D text, you can just do that. And the way you would do that is you need a Fusion composition, obviously. You need to go up to the media pool right here, right click and go down and say create new Fusion composition. Give it a name, go in and drag it into your timeline. As I've got this one already done, I'm just going to go in there and sit and hit open Fusion composition. So here we are within Fusion, and the first thing you'll notice is it's a big composition. There's a lot of nodes there, and we don't actually need to have it this messy. I'm actually going to clean it up. So let me show you a trick. If we go to our n-gons here, or any nodes that you might have up, you can actually select them like that, right click and go up and find the group node like that. Bring that down. Do the same for this one over here. Or add more nodes to it there. Right click, find group. There we are, bring down. At any point, if you want to go back to those group of nodes, what you can do is just double click on it. It'll open up, all the nodes are there. You can edit them, do whatever you want. And once you finish, you just hit the X to close it down, and it keeps your timeline nice and clean. So let's move those over here like that. Now, one thing I meant to mention is that 3D text in DaVinci Fusion is very weird in that it doesn't allow you to add textures. Let me show you what I mean. So I've dragged in a 3D text here. Let's just bring it up here so it's out of the way. We need a 3D text, we need a merge 3D, we need a spotlight, and we need a render 3D. And we need to keep those all clean, so let's move those over here. And we need to connect these all together. So what we need to do, text 3D to the merge 3D, spotlight to the merge 3D, merge 3D to the renderer. Let me show you what I mean. So if I take this text node, clicking on the left hand dot here and put it into the window, let's just move that out. If I come over to the side and type in some text, let's say, we'll just say text, I will need to go down and extrude it. So give it some extrusion. Probably that's enough. Up the subdivisions, give it a bevel, and give it some bevel width. But now when you come up, I can change the color of it. I can even go into shading here. I can change the color. So if I wanted it to be a light blue, I can do that. I can even change the bevel color by clicking on the one material here and going down and clicking that, and giving that a different color. But the problem that we have is I can't add any textures to it. And if I bring in what's called a blend node, which is used for texturing, with this one here, let me just add that across. Even that does not connect in. So how do we texture and how do we add to the text 3D? Let me show you. Right, next thing we need to do is we need to add a camera to the scene. So I'm just going to pull the render over there. Here's our merge 3D and here's our camera. I'm going to connect that to the merge and I'm going to put it in the left hand side like that, and I'm going to put our text in the right hand side. Actually no, I'm not. I'm going to put my render in the side like that. There we are. I've got my camera in and there is absolutely no text. And the reason for that is this camera is actually sitting in the same location as the text. So what you need to do, and I find it easier, if you right click on this perspective text here and go to top. And what you can do is just drag it back. There's a blue line there. You can drag that back until you're happy with your text like that it's in the right position. We're going to actually add a transform to that text. I'm going to go back to one window. We're going to add a transform to that text. Now, unlike normal text, we actually have to use a special transform, and let me show you which one that is. That's your normal transform, and this is the 3D transform. So we're going to add that one there. And we're just going to lower the text down a little bit. And the way you do that is, if I hit the Y key like that, it can move very, very quickly. So I normally just hold the control key and just move it where I need it to be, about there, like that. Let's get on to adding some textures. Right, thinking about it, before we add the textures, it's probably a good idea to add the lights. So I'm going to grab a spotlight, which is this one here, and I'm going to grab that and attach it to the merge. I'm going to put that in the left-hand window, and I'm going to go to the right view. There we are. Again, that's in the same position as the text, so we need to pull that out. One cool thing about the lights is there's a tick box just here under the light section, under the transform section. If you click on that, it will actually always lock on to the text. You see that? So it doesn't matter where I put it, it's always there. So I'm going to raise it up a little bit, about there. Let's go to my top view, and I'll just pull it across to the left a little bit like that. Just add some light to it. Right, you can control the intensity just here, but if I move this up and down, you can see that's not affecting the text. And the reason for that is, on the Merge 3D, you need to make sure it says pass through lights. And then on the renderer, again, I don't know why this is not enabled as standard. You need to make sure that lights are enabled there. So now when I click back on that light, I can actually, even though it says an intensity of 1, I could take that up beyond that to 5 if I wanted to. So let's just give it 1.5. That'll do. And we're going to add another light. So clicking on that merge, we're going to shift spacebar. We're going to add an ambient light as well. And we're going to put that in the left window. Make sure we're on the right view by clicking here. I'm just going to raise that up and move that out of the way. I'm going to go to the top view and just bring it across to the right like that. And that looks good to me. Right, so to add texture to our text, we're going to come over here, drag this out a little bit like that. Make sure you've selected the 3D text and hit Shift Spacebar, and we're looking for Replace Material, which is this one here. I'm going to add that. This allows us not only to add materials, but also fast noises, blurs, and that kind of thing. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually add a background node to it. So I'm going to go over here, grab a background node even, and bring that into here, put that into the window. And the first thing we're going to do is change this from solid to gradient like that. Let's get to our cheat sheet and get the colors. So for the color of the gradient, we'll go here, click on here, click on here, right click and put in our color like that, and then hit enter. Go back to our cheat sheet, copy that color, bring it over here and enter that in like that. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is we need to crush the colors a little bit. So come over to this bar here and bring the colors over like that. Now we're going to animate the gradient. So what we're going to do is going to go to frame 0 or frame 1, bring our gradient to about here, bring this one down like that. Going across to the start X, start Y values here, we're going to click on a keyframe. We're going to go to frame 40. We're going to move this across like that. It'll automatically create a keyframe like that. We're going to go over to frame, say, 90. Drag this down like that. And we're going to go to frame, say, 140. And then we're going to take it back to its beginning position just there, like that. Now what we need to do is go up to the spline editor just here. Everything vanishes. So you need to click here to make it all come back in, but we're still not seeing the keyframes, and the reason for that is we need to hit this icon here that says zoom to fit, and then we see all our keyframes just there. Select them all like that and hit S to smooth them out, and then what we need to do is we need it to repeat. So if we come down to the toolbar here, you've got a few options. You've got set ping pong, set loop, reverse, etc. I'm going to hit set loop, and now when we play that back, we get this. So now we need to add a fast noise. Now if you click on the fast noise and hit fast noise, it'll bring it in as a merge, and we don't want that. So let's Control Z that. What we need it to do is just drag the fast noise in like that, and we're going to connect it as a mask like that, so it comes up like that. And for our colors, let's go back to our cheat sheet. Make sure you're on the fast noise, come to the color section just here, click on this first one, copy in the color. You don't have to do this, by the way, you can use your own colors. And that's interesting, it's not copying in. Oh, there we are. Didn't hit the keyboard hard enough. Do the second one. Now we need to change a few settings within the noise. We need to change the detail to 1.8. We need to bring the contrast down just a little bit. So we're going to go 0.75. We need to bring the brightness up a lot. So let's just drag that over there till it hits 1. The scale, we need this to be about 3.75. And the angle, we need that to be -90. For the seeth, we need it to be 0.0065, and for the seeth rate, we need it to be 0.0024. We now need to animate the X and Y values of that gradient. So we need to go to frame 0, and on the center X and Y here, we're going to hit the keyframe just there. We're going to go right to the end. We're actually going to give it a lot of movement. So on the center X, we're going to make it -4. And on the Y, we're going to make it -5, like so. And it's automatically created the keyframes. So what happens is we get quite a bit of noise running through the shot, like that. And then when we map that onto our text, it just adds to that believability of it being underwater. Right, so for this next part, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of cheating. We're going to take this group node here and we're going to copy it, come up, blank area, Control V to paste it. And then on this background node here, we need to add a merge. So I'm just going to drag a merge in, connect that in like so, and then connect that in like that. And what we're going to do is take this and connect it in across like that. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring all that water noise here over the text, again just making it a bit more believable. But before we do that, what we need to do is click on that, shift spacebar, we need to add a blur like so. We'll take the value of that blur quite high, actually we're going to make it 26. And then what we're going to do is we are going to click on the blur, shift spacebar, we're going to add one of our waviness nodes in like that. And just looking at the textures, let's change that to horizontal. Just looking at that, actually that's a good speed. Right, for this next node, I actually came across this by accident. And it actually works really well with this. It seems a bit bright at first, but once you add it into the water, it's not too bad. So clicking on this merge here, I'm going to go shift spacebar, and we're looking for something called light rays, which is this one here. So there we are. The only thing that we're going to change on this is the source threshold, which we're going to make to 0.77. And now it is time to connect this bad boy into the rest of our composition here. So get the pick whip, connect it to the end of this blur like that, creates the merge for us. And now what we need to do is add a displace modifier. Make sure you clicked on the render 3D one, and then shift spacebar, and we're looking for displace, this one here. Now you would think that because this is 3D text that we would need a 3D displace to deal with it, but anything after the render 3D becomes two-dimensional, so we don't need to worry about that. We can use a 2D displace. So we're going to put our 2D displace in the window, and we're just going to check a few settings here. Just looking at this, actually, it doesn't need that much. So I'm going to change that to 0.19, like so. And the reason we don't need to do much to it is because we're actually going to control the displace, yes, with another fast noise. So clicking on the displace, I'm going to go over here and grab a fast noise and connect that in. We're not going to do much with the fast noise. You can see already it's already changed the text. Let's put that in the window. First thing we need to do is create an animation with it. So I'm going to go to frame 0. I'm going to create a keyframe on the X and Y. Then I'll go to the last frame and just give it 3 on the Y. And then what we get is a texture that's just moving up like so. I'm going to make the detail about 2.5. I'm going to leave the contrast there at 1. Let's just check the brightness. I'm just going to make that say 0.2. And the scale looks okay. In fact, everything else looks okay to me. So let's just go back to our merge. Put that in the window. And what you'll see now is that when we play it, because our text is wobbling like it should be underwater, but it doesn't look like it's underwater. And the reason for that is we need to go down to this merge, and on the alpha gain and blend, just play with these. And if you take the blend right down like that, you'll see it starts to look like it's underwater. And I can see already that the text may have too much extrusion. But what's really cool about this is that at any time we can go back and change that text out. So here's our text node here. So I can go to the text part here and just bring that extrusion back up. Like so, make it a bit thinner. And I can even change the text. The water. Or film jack. And if you do that, you can see obviously here that it's gone right outside the window. So all you need to do is come across here and change the scale here. It is very sensitive, so I often use the control key when dealing with keys like that, because it really is a swine sometimes. Anyway, let's have a look at that. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section below. I will get back to you. And if you have any ideas for tutorials you'd like me to make, let me know. See you in the next one.